Hey, your alarm is ringing, the birds are singing. Today is the 29th of March, 2017. My name is Kafui Day. You are watching the nation's favorite breakfast show, GHToday on GH1 TV. Big day for the #1 gentleman of the land, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, because today, 29th March, is his 73rd birthday. Happy birthday to you, Mr. President, and may you have the best of the day and the rest of your life. We wish you the very best from GH1 TV right here in the heart of Accra. So what's happening? Where's my co-host? I think I'll get the answer to that question pretty soon. Today, we're looking at something that should interest you in Hard Talk. I won't unveil it right now, but just keep watching. And of course, you can get through to us through our various channels on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp. The numbers are on your screen. Everything is there. So just get in touch with us. Let's make this show as interactive as possible. Now, yesterday, lots of revelations. 70,000 is a number which is trending now. No, it's not the number of ministers or government officials or public servants or anything. It's the salary that the Cocoa Board CEO was earning. And the new chairman, Hackman Osu-Ajiman, says he will slash it because it doesn't make sense. I mean, and I've seen arguments of cocoa farmers getting 200 cedis a year as bonus, whilst the CEO of Cocoa Board is getting 70,000 Ghana cedis, like 10,000 pounds, you know, to, I don't know, head Cocoa Board. So what do you think about that figure? It's all there. International sports, countries are qualifying. Ghana is still dealing with calculations and heart doctors, because as we are right now, Charlie, 1 point from 2 games. It's not looking good, but we'll see what happens when we get to play our World Cup qualifiers. There's a lot ahead in sports, on NX with Ali Kairis, and all in between. So stay with us. This is the nation's favorite breakfast show, GHToday on GH1 TV. What's the weather like on this day that lots of things are happening? Let's find out the weather right now.
A moment of silence.
I know you're out there. I can feel you now. I know that you're afraid. You're afraid of us. My God, my God,
to the polls for a by-election to elect somebody to sit in that capacity as MP, because earlier the Member of Parliament, Joseph Boachi Dankwa Edu, had been killed by some criminals. And so today is exactly a year that that by-election took place. May his soul rest in peace, and our condolences going to the family, who for them today will not be a great day at all, remembering the loss of their dear one. Just to put a few things out there for you. So coming up is our breakfast news right here on GHToday. And of course, in this hour, we'll be having our breakfast review with the papers. I'm just looking at the kind of interesting headlines that are there. Amery is trending, Galamsey is trending, Tony Blair is trending. He was here yesterday speaking with the president. interacting with the media, economy bouncing back, Opuni with the 70,000, Dumelo nailed. Dumelo seems to be the favorite breakfast of Daily Guide over the past week, and petrol prices to increase. Just a few of the headlines that will be coming up pretty soon. But we're going for a break now, and then we will return with GH Today News right here on GH1 TV. Hello and welcome to GH Today News. My name is Day. Coming up, brace yourselves for more salary cuts. Cocoa Board chair cautions top management of Cocoa Board, whose CEO earns 70,000 cedis every month. Minister of State in charge of monitoring and evaluation criticizes colleague MPs for asking for budgets for MMDAs to be increased. And on the international front, countdown for the UK to leave the EU begins as British Prime Minister signs letter for process to commence. Details coming up right here on GH1 TV. Minister of State in charge of monitoring and evaluation, Dr. Anthony Akoto Osei, has chastised his colleague MPs for asking the Finance Ministry to increase allocations to various MMDAs in the 2017 budget.
At present, various ministries, departments and agencies have had their budgetary allocations slashed, particularly in the area of internally generated fund. Already, there is a bill before Parliament to allow government to redirect money from various statutory funds to the Finance Ministry for the financing of government priority projects. The GET Fund, NHIS Fund, District Assembly Common Fund, among others, will be affected if the bill passes into law. On Monday, the bill reached the consideration stage. A cap will also be placed on spending of internally generated funds by various ministries, departments and agencies for the remainder to be sent to the Finance Ministry. Some ministers who are also MPs have been pushing for increased allocation, but MP for Old Tafo said such a move would be illegal. Speaking during the approval of the budget estimate of Ministry of Justice and Attorney General's Department, Dr. Kotose explained the President is the only one vested with that power. MDAs have been lamenting the poor allocations, prompting various parliamentary committees to request for more money from the Finance Minister. Here are some excerpts from the floor.
It is very important that we support this particular budget for the health sector. Simply because when we went with the agency, it was revealed that they face a lot of problems, especially in terms of accommodation, in terms of staff insurance, and a lot of things. And many of them will face equipment problems. So they spoke at length. In 2016, the budget for the Ministry of Health, especially the one approved for service, was only about 1.2 billion. And out of this, only 784,000 was released. This affected service delivery, and if you read the report from the ministry, you realize that most of the important indicators were all not achieved or they were going down. In 2017, we are lucky the budget has increased to 4.2 billion. Mr. Speaker, we realized that all the regulatory bodies, apart from staffing problems, were also having accommodation challenges. And those who have the capacity were trying to put up their own accommodation. But what we propose is that maybe the ministry considers putting up something like a health regulatory body complex, so that the cost of construction or acquiring accommodation will reduce, and that all the regulatory bodies maybe could be in one complex.
Because what he actually referring to was what was done yesterday. And you can't make reference to what we have in the bill, because there is nothing like total in the bill. So making reference to line 2 of the bill, you are making a mistake and you are confusing everybody, because we don't have that in what we have here. The proper procedure was to come under second constitutional state because the decision was taken on 2A yesterday. So if you want to go back and correct that one, come under second constitutional state. You don't pass the back door and want to do it. That is why you're making that mistake.
Now, still with Parliament, the Deputy Finance Minister designate Kweku Kwating has strongly defended the appointment of 110 ministers by President Akufo-Addo. Appearing before the Appointments Committee yesterday, the Obuasi West MP said the criticisms about the drain on the public purse are unfounded.
The Deputy Finance Minister explained the cost to be incurred by the administration in terms of perks to be enjoyed by the ministers might be lower than that of the Mahama administration, which had a little over 80 ministers. Citing an example to back his point, he said the directive for MDAs not to buy new vehicles is a cost-saving measure.
I am of the view that if sufficient cost-cutting measures are deployed by government, we may well end up with the cost of a government administration being lower than it could be if you appointed, say, 80 ministers without an associated cost-cutting intervention.
The Deputy Minister was also forced to eat back a number of derogatory words used to describe former President Mahama.
Now, top managers of the cocoa marketing company should brace themselves for a possible salary cut. This is according to the chairman of the new board, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, who pledged to do his best together with the fellow board members to arrest the challenges bedeviling the cocoa sector. President Akufo-Addo, however, charged them to lift Ghana's cocoa production to 1 million tons per season.
In the name of the Almighty God swear.
The president expressed confidence in the new board and its composition and described them as a winning team that will turn the cocoa sector around.
I am confident that the caliber of men and women who are now on the board of the Cocoa Marketing Board are going to be able to discharge. The Ghanaian people are looking at you. They want to see a new leaf turned in the manner in which our cocoa industry has been managed and developed. And you're doing so under the overall leadership of a minister of agriculture who has given his life to developing this industry.
Chairman of the new board, Hackman Owusu-Agyemang, indicated that despite the many challenges bedeviling the cocoa sector, his team will work assiduously to make the sector more financially viable.
Mr. President, you have given us a job, and we'll do our best with your support and that of your senior members of the presidency, and we hope to be able to rise to the occasion. It will take some time, yes, but we will start by reviewing all contracts that have been signed. Because just sometime on cursory looks, you see definitely they are completely out of place. So we will do that. We will also go further and make sure that value for money is achieved for everybody.
The members of the new board of directors of the Cocoa Marketing Company include Joseph Wahin Edu, Kwame Sapong, Dr. Abdul Nashiru Isahaku, Nana Jwa Doku, and Nana Johnson Mensah. The rest are Nana Obenya Krofi, Peter Atabwache, Charles Edubuahin, Carlos Ahinkra, and Geli Nura.
Now, President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has placed a moratorium on the purchase of new vehicles by ministries, departments, and agencies. But North Tongu MP Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa says this directive is belated.
Letter written by the Chief of Staff, Akosua Fremont Selpari, dated March 21, said the ban holds until further notice. Ministries, departments, and agencies have been directed to make use of the existing fleet of vehicles in their respective transport pools. The directive comes on the back of missing 208 state vehicles, which was blamed on former government officials of the National Democratic Congress. But reacting to the directive, North Tongu MP Okujeto Ablakwa said the order came too late because ministries, departments, and agencies have already procured their vehicles.
I have evidence that these vehicles you are referring to, the letter from the Chief of Staff, most of them have been bought already. If you go to the Ministry of Fisheries, The minister is already using her brand new V8 Land Cruiser, so I don't know what that directive really is achieving.
Now, the Ashanti Regional Chairman of the National Peace Council, Professor Seth Oponu Isiama, wants the president to be decisive and to flush out members of the Delta Force in order to punish them and to serve as a deterrent to other vigilante groups. He made the pronouncement in response to the recent attack on the Regional Security Coordinator, Georgia J, by pro-MPP vigilante groups.
On Friday, a group marched to the Regional Security Council and attacked the security coordinator without provocation. His crime, as alleged by the group, was that he did not help the party in its quest to win power during the 2016 campaign. The swift intervention of the police saved Georgia J's life. The police subsequently arrested the leader of the group and 4 others and put out a circular for the rest to turn themselves in. Reacting to the development, Professor Oponu Isiama took the opportunity to condemn some members of the NPP.
I heard this morning that 2 people had been arrested, the ringleader and 1 other person have been arrested. Haven't we heard this before? That people commit crimes, things like this, they are arrested. In another moment, they are all released. Nobody hears about any prosecution. That is a disappointment. And it was even more disappointing to see that the police on Friday were there in full force. And yet, they were not preventing the people from doing what they were. In fact, later I was even told that the police actually escorted the people to the Regional Coordinating Council offices. That is very sad. And I think that the IGP must sit up.
Professor Oponu Isiama described the incident as unfortunate and shameful and urged the police to go beyond arrest and prosecute the culprits. This call was re-echoed by members of the Regional Security Council.
You're watching GHToday News. My name is Kafui Day. Now, former Prime Minister of the UK, Tony Blair, has expressed optimism that the President of Ghana would rise to the occasion and deal with the many challenges confronting the nation. Mr. Blair was speaking at the Jubilee House when he paid a courtesy call on President Akufo-Addo.
I think this is a very important moment for the country. You come at a time of great expectation. You have assumed this great responsibility of office, and as is very apparent, when anyone spends time with you, they realize that they're with someone who has the interests of the country in his heart and the right spirit with which to approach these challenges. So I know the challenges are formidable. What I work on now, as we were discussing, is trying to use the experience of my time in office to do what I can to help countries in their process of change and development. Our initiative is in 8 different countries in Africa today. We just focus on a very simple thing, which is helping countries deliver the priorities for their people. We do it in a completely non-partisan, non-political way, but we do it because if the countries can develop and their people prosper, I think this is not just good for Ghana, but good for the region, good for Africa, and good for the world.
He came to have a discussion with me about the ways which he can help, the insights that he's had into governance, and how that could also help me in what I'm trying to do.
Jubilee House to the Volta region, where residents of Jita, a fishing community in the Keta municipality of the Volta region, hit the streets Tuesday morning in protest against reported incidents of serial killings in the area. Following the protest, the residents, led by the assemblyman, presented a petition to the Regional Police Command to look into these mysterious deaths.
Residents say they wake up to the sight of one dead body or another at the outskirts of the community and along the shore in recent times. According to them, between 2013 and 2017, over 10 residents, including 3 children, have been killed in the area with parts of their bodies missing. Residents claim they find the mutilated bodies of the victims but never seem to know who the killers are. The latest incident occurred last Monday when the body of a woman was found along the shore during a search for a carpenter who went missing in the area. This left residents in a state of fear and anxiety. Brass Dejo, assembly member for Jita, told Star News the situation has become very alarming as residents go about their daily activities in fear. He indicated that several reports to the police in the area have not yielded any results, hence their resort to the peaceful protest to draw attention of the authorities to come to their aid.
And now to some tech news. So over the past decade, internet access in Ghana has improved thanks to the rapid growth in the mobile telecommunications sector. However, Ghana ranks 26th out of 58 countries surveyed on the 2017 Affordability Drivers Index. This is the same ranking Ghana earned in the 2015-2016 Affordability Drivers Index, indicating the slow pace of policy and regulatory progress in the country's internet connectivity.
In 2015, President John Dramani Mahama inaugurated the Eastern Corridor fiber optic backbone infrastructure project, which aims to expand internet access by deploying 800 kilometers of fiber across 120 districts and municipal assemblies. However, uptake has been slow, an issue attributed by internet service providers to high wholesale costs. It is to address these issues that the Alliance for Affordable Internet organized a workshop in Accra on Tuesday to map out strategies to enable broadband affordability to all. Minister of Communications Esla Owusu-Kufu pledged to work with stakeholders to reduce internet costs as some measures to get more Ghanaians access to the internet.
All that we're doing is totally meaningless if the ordinary person cannot access the internet and take advantage of the huge opportunities out there. Because of the cost of accessing the internet, yes, everybody has some small data plan on their phone, but what do they do with it? Sending and receiving messages and pictures and movies and all that. People want to work, use technology to enhance their efficiencies at work, make it easier for them to live in a more secure space.
She also stated plans by her ministry to confront the issues of cyberbullying.
Cybersecurity is a huge threat globally, and it is something that I have taken on as a matter of priority. A cybersecurity policy was developed late last year and adopted by Cabinet. It is our duty to look at it, improve upon it if need be, and to implement it. So for starters, this year it didn't find space in the budget. We are going to set up a cybersecurity center in and within the ministry. We have tasked the NCA to start working on it, so they've set up a cybersecurity directorate within the NCA.
The Alliance for Affordable Internet also spoke about plans to move the country from its current 26th to 5th position in the Affordability Internet Drivers Index.
We are advocating for the removal of taxes, if possible, on phones and computers. We're also asking that infrastructure should be shared. What is shared, it means that instead of having Vodafone, MTN, Google, everybody digging, you can have one person digging and everybody sharing.
Participants at the workshop resolved that Ghana will need to update its spectrum policy and regulations to promote greater pricing transparency, competition and rapid expansion of internet services to rural areas.
And now to some human rights news, where an assessment of Ghana's human rights performance levels reveals that the country has implemented only 30 out of 148 recommendations by the United Nations Human Rights Commission. The report, which was put together by about 70 civil society organizations in the country, evaluated 9 thematic areas centered around areas such as access to justice and right to life, freedom of expression, disability, right to health, and social protection, among others.
A review conducted on access to justice and right to life, which encompasses conditions of the prisons, prisoners' rights, police brutality and the abolition of the death penalty, among others, all pointed to serious shortfalls in Ghana's human rights performance.
And we need to educate the public to understand the issues related to the death penalty. As you probably know, we haven't executed anybody since 1993. So while even though the courts continue to pass the death penalty, no execution takes place. But those who are sentenced to death, they live in very horrific conditions.
The report also exposed serious human rights violations in the mining and extractive sectors, particularly on issues of inadequate compensation to individuals and communities affected by mining activities, gender disparity, control, usage and of natural resources, and called on government to strengthen its laws to cap such abuses. Respect for minority groups, including homosexuals, were also identified as a major lapse in the human rights advocacy in Ghana.
Even from the Christian perspective, where the Bible says it's an abomination, we need to be able to handle the issue with maturity, to show love, and to, if need be, try to educate them as to why you think that the behavior is unacceptable and win them over rather than, just condemning people because they are homosexuals.
In terms of recommendations made from the UN 2012-2013 during the UPR review, we will say that most of the recommendations have not been met, and that is not good for a country like Ghana, because when you look at human rights, democracy, rule of law, Ghana stands tall or amongst the best in terms of Africa. And so if recommendations of this nature from the UN Human Rights Council has come and to some extent has not been taken seriously as a state, then it is not good.
Women participation in governance has also been earmarked for improvement in the report, as the 30% quota in governance still hangs in the balance.
The MPP manifesto, as well as our president, promised that as much as possible he will want to increase the representation of women at all levels in governance. As of now, he hasn't gotten to the 30 yet, but I'm very sure that when you consider other state agencies, the board members and the other managers, you get around the 30%.
The Ghana Civil Society Organization has recommended the following for action: the establishment of Independent Police Complaints Commission to deal with police brutalities, continue and reinforce the efforts to eliminate any form of discrimination or stigma against people living with HIV or AIDS, and commit to finding solutions to retrieve and prevent children from serving as alleged witches in witch camps, among others.
Let's talk money now, shall we? Now, according to the financial analyst Courage Mate, who is with DataBank, he says the CD's latest trend is a sign of recovery and it will make better gains soon.
By close of day 23rd March 2017, the interbank rate for the cedi stood at 4 cedis 42 pesos for a dollar. The euro sold slightly above that at 4 cedis 76 pesos, while the British pound sold the highest at 5 cedis 52 pesos. Comparatively, in the same period last year, the interbank rate stood at 3 cedis 8 pesos for a dollar. This shows a depreciation of 0.9% then to 5% now. The cedi's depreciation has nearly doubled in the case of the euro. From a fall of 4.5%, it plunged further downward to 8%. The year-on-year performance of the cedi against the British pound was perhaps the most abysmal, as it appreciated by 1.8% in March 2016, but fell to 7.5% same period this year. The sharp depreciation of the local currency between January and February this year occurred despite the Bank of Ghana's $120 million auction for the first quarter of this year.
It's a big day in the UK today. So Prime Minister Theresa May has signed the letter that will formally begin the UK's departure from the European Union. Giving official notice under Article 50 of the Lisbon Treaty, it will be delivered to the European Council President Donald Tusk later. In a statement in the British Parliament, the Prime Minister will then tell MPs this marks the moment for the country to come together. Mrs. May's letter will be delivered at 12:30 p.m. today by the British Ambassador to the EU, Sir Tim Barrow. The Prime Minister, who will chair a cabinet meeting this morning, will then make a statement to MPs confirming the countdown to the UK's departure from the EU, which is currently underway, and that counts us down to the end of this morning's bulletin. GH Today News. My name is Kafri Day. Keep watching GH1 TV. Over to Kemini Amano for the rest of today's show.
Well, good morning, Kaf. It's been a while since you started the show without me, but here I am now. I'll take you through the headlines now. Now, I'll start off with the Finder newspaper. On the front page of the Finder newspaper, we have $1 billion agro-industrial enclave for Volta region, a project to be embarked upon by the United States, China, Dubai investors to complete projects which should last 3 years. That's on the front page of the Finder. Also on the Finder is a message to the president on his birthday. Happy 73rd birthday to President Akufo-Addo. There's also the president and Tony Blair. Akufo-Addo can fix Ghana. That's according to Tony Blair. Parliamentary bribery allegation report not ready. That's also on the front page of the Finder newspaper. The Finder does not believe that the report will be delivered to Parliament as projected today. We'll move on to the Daily Dispatch newspaper. On the front page of the Daily Dispatch newspaper, the banner headline there is NPP government will pay judgment debt if it abrogates a Mary deal. That's according to ASEP. What Mark Woyongo actually said about JDM, John Dramani Mahama, that is also inside this paper, the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Full report of NPP government on the Ameri deal is also here on the Daily Dispatch newspaper. Behind this paper is also a story about John Boydu declining a ministerial position to serve the party, according to Kennedy in Japan. From the Daily Dispatch newspaper, we'll turn attention to the Ghanaian Times. Now, the Ghanaian Times says Galamsey has given 3-week ultimatum to stop operations or face the wrath of government. That's somewhere in the paper, page 7, I believe, and it's attributed to the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources. There's also government targets 1 million tons of cocoa. This statement was made when the board was sworn in, the cocoa board was sworn in. Tony Blair visits Ghana. Zongo Development Fund to be given legal backing. 10 Delta Force members report to police. That's the updates given by the Ghanaian Times. Back page of the paper, Greater Accra records 409 road accident deaths. African countries urge to increase support for science, attributed to Environment and Science Minister, Professor Frimpong Boateng. Daily Statesman newspaper, banner headline, Akufo-Addo has Ghana's interest at heart. Tony Blair trends again on the front page of this paper. We must see change in cocoa sector. President charges new board of the cocoa company. Move on straight to the Daily Guide. Again, Tony Blair trends here. However, the banner headline is on Galamsey. Ultimatum to illegal miners, stop Galamsey in 3 weeks or face law. In the case of Tony Blair's visit to Ghana, I'll make experience available to Akufo-Addo. Well, what you see on your screen now is the Daily Guide, but I'm looking at the Daily Graphic. Joe Gate Committee presents report today. You recall that earlier I told you the Finder does not believe the report will be ready, but obviously that'll be a discussion during breakfast review. On the back page of the Daily Graphic, Germany supports Ghana with 25 million euros to tackle e-waste menace. That's good. Hopefully we can put it to some good use. The new crusading guide now. President deserves safe car, says MP. Smear ploy backfires as cracks develop in Kameru. MPP over attempt to discredit chairman. Gamashi seeps into jubilation over plans to outdoor gun Manchester deal at Lands Commission grab. The new crusading guide. Find out what that stinky deal is. Economic Times this morning. NPL, non-performing loans, that is, of banks narrowed slightly. Government AGI open 1 district, 1 factory discussions. Energy sector levies 1.3% above target. Behind the paper, supply glut risk as cocoa expansion plans backfire. Stanbic introduces new offers for executive banking clients. Rising cashew demand. Fuel smuggling from Ivory Coast. Move on to the Chronicle now. Banner headline here, economy bouncing back as interest and exchange rates tumble. according to Deputy Minister Designate for the Finance Ministry, Kweku Kwating. Nana is passionate in developing Ghana. Tony Blair, NDC, respect Kwesi B's committee, and it has to do with the wranglings within the party. Olympics was not yet over. That's on the back page of the Chronicle. Kwesi Appiah warned against Black Stars job. Grab this paper to know who is doing the warning. Anxious wait on Jonathan Mensah's thigh injury. Front page of the Daily Heritage newspaper now. The banner headline, Opuni was on 75,000 cedi salary. New Cocoa Board chairman reveals. Interesting. You recall that the new Cocoa Board chairman has also mentioned that all contracts of top managers will be reviewed. Interesting. DVLA boss in more trouble for allegedly defrauding 17 people. Delta invincible forces for national security job, says Kennedy A. Japan. There's some sports news on the back page of the Daily Heritage newspaper as well. The Republic says nepotism, greed, win. Ghana under Akufo-Addo, nepotism and greed win as Bawumia Osafoma for Ken Ofori-Atta gets cronies to head SNIT. And he gives the names of the supposed cronies: Dr. John Ofori-Tinkran, Director General; Kofi Osafoma for Deputy Director General; and Michael Addo, Deputy Director General. Grab the paper, get the details. There's also Dr. Omane Boama, former Communications Minister, on the front page of the Daily The Republic, and the paper reports that he stressed a Jaku Committee Ameri report saying it's a hatchet job to nail down the Mahama administration. Now to the Daily Guide newspaper, where actor John Dumelo is trending. He's the banner headline here. Dumelo nailed, offers cash for V8 cars, 5 Delta Force members charged, Cocoa Board probes Opuni contracts, fat salaries for bosses, bench warrant for Collins Dowda's brother. Get the details in the Daily Guide newspaper. The Insight. Petrol price to increase. We are not surprised by that. The regulation has been deregulated. Things go up and down. MPP man is angry. And there's also a story about the Delta Force in here. So that'll be all for the headlines. But we'll bring you details of these stories on the Breakfast Review segment here on GH Today. My name is Kemini Amana.
Join our social media conversation at GH1 TV, Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook at GH_1 and WhatsApp 0288 500 600. GH Today on GH1 TV. Let's get interactive.
A hero of change is the one who lends a helping hand.
The one who gives a second chance at life.
The one who teaches many to be independent and self-sufficient.
The one who provides a better education for the community
and gives many hope for the future.
The one who puts a smile on many faces.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
That's a hero of change.
Join us as we bring you stories of Ghanaians making a positive change in our society by impacting the lives of others in the MTN Heroes of Change Season 3. Sunday at 7 p.m. on GH1. MTN Heroes of Change.
This year, when they ask why your favorite artist or song won that category, ask them the most important question. Did you vote? Push your favorite artist or song to the very top in the 18th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards. To vote for Artist of the Year, text A to 1767. To vote for Vodafone Most Popular Song of the Year, text B to 1767. For all other categories, text C to 1767 on Vodafone and all other networks. The 18th Vodafone Ghana Music Awards, celebrating 60 years of GH music united by rhythm, proudly connected by Vodafone.
Vodafone, power to you.
But I must ask, what is your worst day in business so far?
You want to talk about worst days? If you've got a big bag of tissues there, you'll be able to cry with me. And we had all these guys wanting to hijack our company. And these were white people.
What was going through your mind at that point?
There were corporate vultures out there who wanted to take the company out. We lost more than 100 million rand.
Join our social media conversation at GH1 TV, Twitter and Instagram, on Facebook at GH1 and WhatsApp 0288 500 600. GH Today on GH1 TV. Let's get interactive.
Yes, today we're almost entering the breakfast review segment with myself. But before we do, let me tell you about the Star Woman Project. The Kumasi edition is happening this Friday, March 31, 2017. We've started the countdown. Today it's Wednesday, there's Thursday, and then there's Friday, 31st March 2017. 6 p.m. at the Law Faculty of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. Come and meet amazing women, interact, network with them, build your star woman power, your personal star woman power. The best part of it is it's absolutely free. Now let me tell you about some of the people who will be speaking at the Kumasi edition of the Star Woman Project. CEO of Ace Consult, Marilyn Owusu. There's Miss Nancy, CEO, Style Coach Ghana. Nanama McBrown, multi-award winning entertainer and brand influencer. And then you also meet the Star Woman Project, the face of Star Woman Project, Anita Erskine, should also be speaking. And then the program will be hosted by the dynamic woman, Na Claude of Ultimate FM. I'm sure you've been listening to her on the branch of Ultimate FM. So it's this Friday, Law Faculty, the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, 6 p.m. sharp, and it's absolutely free. The Star Woman Project is proudly sponsored by Access W Initiative, inspiring, connecting, and empowering. Star Woman Projects that stand out, be there Friday. Now, let's get into the breakfast review segment now. This is a part of the program where we have discussions around the major headlines in the newspapers. This morning, my guests in the studio, very interesting people I know. There's Lawyer Malba, who's a member of the NDC legal team, and there's also Sam Pine, who's a regional executive for the NPP in the Ashanti region. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
It's good to see you, especially Mr. Pine.
Yeah.
I haven't interacted with you like this before. Lawyer Malba is what you call Ofienipa.
Yeah.
Yes, so it's good to see you, absolutely.
But I'm not just a simple executive, I'm the regional secretary.
You are the regional
secretary.
secretary.
A very big post.
A very big post. So I should add that.
Definitely.
He's the regional executive of the NPP in the Ashanti region.
He says he's a secretary. The regional secretary.
You are the regional secretary.
Yeah.
Regional secretary, yeah, of the NPP in the Ashanti region. Thank you very much. But let's start off with the Daily Guide newspaper. I know the banner headline has to do with John Dumelo and, you know, he offering cash for V8 cars. But I'd want us to look at Cocoa Board probes Oponi contract, fat salaries for bosses, something that came up when the president sworn in the new board members for Cocoa Board. And the chairman made some of these comments. In fact, when you move on to the Daily Heritage newspaper, the Daily Heritage announces or reports that Oponi was on a 75,000 salary. people think that this is outrageous. Amaba, because this was during your tenure in office as a party, the NDC, I'll take your comments on this one first.
Let me start by saying good morning to your viewers and listeners alike. This audio-visual, so people who can see can hear.
Yes.
So, having said that, this is an unfolding story. I have not done my checks, but my knowledge of how salaries are paid in this country is that it is not the employee who pegs the salary. It's not the employee. It is the employer. Now we need to find out in Cocoa Board what is the salary for the CEO as pegged by the employer. If the salary is what we are hearing, then I will not fault Opuni. But if it is that, having entered into that office, Opuni decided on his own accord, without reference to government, pegs the salary at that amount, then I will have a problem. But I'm just saying that because it's an unfolding story, one cannot come to a conclusion that a wrong has been committed. But we only have to wait and see and find out whether some of these questions I'm asking have answers to. Because one would look at this amount and obviously it is too outrageous. It's huge.
Absolutely.
I have worked on a board before and my CEO's salary was pegged. And so the CEO did not have the capacity to alter the salary. I'm talking about GMPC. And so that goes for all state institutions, even if they are not ministries, not departments, but once the state institution, the salary is pegged, and you, the CEO, you don't have the capacity to alter the amount. So we need to find out how this came about and whether it is a salary that is pegged for CEOs of Cocoa Board, or it is Opuni who came in and decided to peg it at that.
Mr. Pine, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, thank you very much. And let me also say good morning to our viewers and listeners. Then also a very big happy birthday to the President.
Absolutely.
His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I'm also a March born, and once he's a March born, we are in the boat together. And I wish him well. I believe the good Lord will bless him with much wisdom for him to execute whatever programs there is for the country. This is, to me, it's outrageous. Now, if even pay what lawyer is saying, is that it's a board that pegs the salary of the CEO, what did they take into consideration before? Now, let's look at the cocoa board itself. My grandfather was a cocoa farmer. My mom now is a cocoa farmer. Some of us are into that business too. How much do we even earn at the end of the year? Right? You look at the plight of the people. The cocoa roads that they said they were building, how much went into that? So at the end of the year, how much is going to earn? Did they think deep into it? That's the problem. Then you just support that against the salaries of other workers in the country. Even the president, how much is he taking home as the president of the country? And we peg it is as the salary. That is the salary. We're not talking about the benefits, the travels, the per diems, and all the other goodies that goes with that, with the office of the CEO. So it kind of, people will look at it. I don't think the chairman want to be populist or something, but if that's the reality, then we have a long way to go. Now there's always the need to revise some of these things. If it is true, those who pegged at that point should answer questions.
Well, I think that's what the new board chairman wants to do. But Layamaba, you'd agree with me that since Stephen Opuni took over Cocoa Board, he's been embroiled with too many controversies. What is it with him and Cocoa Board that generates all of that controversy?
No, I don't agree to the question. Since he took over, he has been embroiled. No,
True, there were those labor agitations where the workers thought that he wasn't managing the place well. Since 2016, they have been agitating. They've been asking the government to remove him. And if you follow the trail, when he was also at the FDA, it seemed to have been the same trend where the workers wanted to move him. So it makes you want to ask yourself, what is it with this man and where he goes and the fact that people always want him out?
I've been to his office a couple of times, but I've not worked closely with him to know how he relates to his workers. But I also know that if you are a chief executive and you insist on the right things to be done, you will not be a friend of the workers. You are somebody who thinks that you want to break away from the normal things, the status quo, which is not making the organization to grow. Definitely, you have people who are in support of the status quo coming against you. I'm not by this saying that probably that is what is happening, but you need to look at it from two angles. Either he's not performing well, and that's why there are agitations, or that he is trying to ensure that things are done rightly, but some people who are benefiting from the existing system are trying to agitate against him. And so it will be difficult to pinpoint the reason, but it will be one of these. Either the workers who would have seen Oponi's management of the place as high-handed,